Hi, I'm Karyanne Kelly. I write under the name or the nom de plume of Karyanne Kelly. This is because I had a French boyfriend who, when he pronounced Karyanne, he said Karyanne, and it was gorgeous. So it made me smile, and I thought, yes, I'll use this as a nom de plume. I'm here today because I discovered the Thomas Keneally Reading Room at the Sydney Mechanics School of Arts Library, which is this wonderful little haven in the heart of the city, which is, it's great to go there and write. It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's hidden on the 3rd floor, and it has beautiful red sofas and a table and a fabulous collection of books that belong to Thomas Keneally. I haven't spent enough time there lately. I need to get back. I would also like to tell you that I'm here doing this interview, this video, at the Better Read Than Dead bookstore in Newtown, which is a fabulous store. And the irony is that the only reason why I'm getting to write full-time now is because everybody died. Everyone in my family, and I've had a horrendous few years. And at the end of it, I woke up with nothing left. So I thought, if there's nothing left, I can start from absolute scratch, and I can do what I really want to do, which is to write. So I'm not a published author. I'm an author in the works or training. I have a thorough intention that I will get published somehow. Watch this space. I'm doing a multitude of things, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. But the main reason why I've agreed to doing this interview is I'd really like to help people in a similar position to myself. You'll see plenty of interviews online of published successful authors or people with a background with degrees and a literature or a journalism or university trained background, working background, that seem to have a perfect legitimacy to write and become authors. I have none of those things. I'm just a storyteller. And I think there are plenty of storytellers out there who just need the confidence and the encouragement to give it a go. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I came to write. This is my story, or a better way of saying it, which I suggested to the person who's organised this interview, Phil from Thomas Keneally Reading Room, that I'm here to tell my writing story, which is what to do when you don't know what you're doing as a writer. So, as briefly as I can, even though I've loved to talk and love to tell stories. I remember when I was 9 years old, we had an author come to our school, and we were all sat on the floor of our gymnasium, and she sat on a chair at the front of the gymnasium to tell us about her book. She was an ex-student of the school I attended. That's why she'd been invited. I can't remember her name. I wish I could. She was a very shy woman. I remember, even as a 9-year-old, realising that she had a great amount of difficulty talking to a room full of children about her work. Writers, I think, by nature, are introverts. I don't seem an introvert, but I actually am. The way I deal with my introversion is to cover it up with extroversion. But in fact, I'm a very shy, introverted person, and I have a whole little world of my own going on. It's actually a useful bubble to retreat to when the world gets too tough. And I think the majority of writers, particularly the introverts, have that world that they live in, and therefore find it very difficult to come out of that world, to expose their writing, to take the chance, take the risk, and become published. So I'm talking to you. The writing journey and exposing yourself is fraught. So at 9 years old, when I watched this wonderful woman talk very embarrassingly about her journey and her book, I made a decision then. I knew I would write a book one day. It took many, many years, nearly 40, to come to that point. And I don't think it's a controllable process. So please take the pressure off yourself. I think it's like an idea like the Berlin Wall. You know, it's an idea whose time comes. And I don't think you can control that process. So take the pressure off yourself about time as well. It was definitely an idea whose time had come for me. I had a marker about 20 years ago, 19 years ago. I won a competition called A Destiny of Her Own. It was a writing competition, and you had to write in 25 words or less what I'd do in Venice for a day and a night. And when I wrote my 25 words, I read it and I thought, my goodness, I could win this. And 3 months later, I did win it. It was very confronting for me. I won the competition, I won a trip to Italy, I won this diamond. And I knew in that moment that I would probably end up out of the marriage that I was in with my 3 little children, and it was really confronting. It did all come to pass. And then I had another moment. About 14 years later, I fell down some stairs and I broke my ankle and 5 bones in my foot. So I was couch-bound for months on end. That's when I started to write. But I still didn't feel quite capable. And so for about 4 or 5 years, I did lots of courses. I did weekend workshops. I went to writers' centres. I learned punctuation and grammar, which I already knew. I learned how to write short stories. I learned how to write long stories. I learned how to blog. I went to every course I could. I still didn't write. Then I attended a workshop in March of this year. Then I decided I would take a year off to write, and I moved to a small apartment. I got rid of all the excess garbage in my life, and I set myself up to write, but I still didn't write. And then I went to the workshop in March at the New South Wales Writers Centre at Rozelle with Sue Wolfe, and she talked about neuroscience. So not to make it complicated, basically, all our creativity does not come from the frontal lobe of our brains. It comes from the subconscious. So about 3 months after I did Sue Wolfe's course, which meant I didn't have to follow a structure, I finally woke up one day and I just started to write. I didn't think about it. I didn't try to make it perfect. I didn't try and follow a structure or any rules. I just started to write. And very quickly, it was like a floodgate of creativity opened. And now I'm writing about anything and everything. So what I'd like you to know is, if you just let the floodgate open, if you just take your head out of it, if you don't try and be perfect, if you don't try and follow a structure, if you just sit down every day or for an hour every day or 10 minutes every day, I find when I wake up early in the morning is my best, most creative time. But you know, in the shower I get ideas, I quickly put them in my phone. I go to cafes and I sit and write for 20 minutes or 4 hours. On my bad days when I can't write at all, I sit and draw, and then I've got a chapter just from a drawing. Please just give it a go. Don't try and structure it. Don't try and format it. Don't make it perfect. Just let it out. Let it out in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock in the morning. Let it out when you've got 10 minutes sitting in the car, or if you hear a voice in the shower like Sue Wolfe did. You know, don't feel you have to be educated. Don't feel you have to be diplomaed. Don't feel you have to let it happen according to somebody else's rules. Creativity does not work that way. So, I'm writing a memoir. I'm writing a non-fiction narrative that's all about vaginas. It came to me in a dream, and believe me, I'm a very particular person. I can't believe I'm writing about this, but I'm doing it at a level that's really non-confrontational. It's really about my creativity. But most of all, right now, I'm writing and I'm drawing, and I'm painting for a children's book series, which is just everything about magic and the process of finding the joyful, the beautiful, the magical in our everyday world. So whoever listens to this, I trust that you're meant to see this video to help you just forget about being perfect, forget about having qualifications, forget about coming from a background of anything. If you have a story in you, write it. Write all the stories that you have. Thank you.